Hello and welcome to Impact the Borough, a podcast from the Greensboro Chamber of Commerce. I'm Brent Christensen, President and CEO of the Greensboro Chamber of Commerce. Each week, a Chamber staff member will sit down with a guest to discuss what we're doing to start and grow businesses, create quality jobs, develop our workforce, and tell the inspiring story of Greensboro to the world. This podcast is brought to you by Truliant Federal Credit Union, a modern, mission-driven financial institution focused on the needs of its members, the businesses it serves, and our community. With 5 locations in Guilford County, including a dedicated commercial lending office at Friendly Center and a highly rated mobile banking app, Truliant makes it their business to help you grow yours. Visit Truliant.org for more information.
Hello, my name is Lizzie Tasuda, and I am the Director of Campus Greensboro, which is an initiative of Action Greensboro. We have 2 special guests today who I'm really excited to hear their perspective and their experience with their internships and within the Fellows Program. We have Crystal Tejada, who is a recent UNCG grad. She just graduated this past weekend, so congratulations. And then we have James Donnell, who is an Elon grad and is currently at Elon Law. Before we hear them speak and hear some of their stories, I do want to tell you a little bit about Campus Greensboro and our Fellows Program. So Campus Greensboro, we focus on the college students in our community. So Greensboro is fortunate to have 7 colleges and universities and 50,000 college students. Greensboro as a community, our goal is to help students get plugged into our city before they graduate. We want students to feel connected and have a base of network here so that when they're ready to graduate, they can find great career opportunities here and they can thrive as a young professional in our city. One of our main methods of bolstering this mission is through our Summer Fellows Program, which is an internship program. We connect students to paid competitive internships with about 60 different organizations in the city. We have a cohort of over 100 students each summer who meet weekly for professional development events, for mentorship, for social engagement, all in hopes to help them feel more connected to our community and help them get involved. So I'm really excited about our guests today. Both of these fine young professionals were fellows in the program last year, and so they're going to talk a little bit about their experience in the program, but also a little bit about what it's like to be a young professional in Greensboro. So Crystal, why don't you start? Could you tell us a little bit about your internship through the Fellows Program?
Yeah, so like Lizzie said, my name is Crystal, and during the summer of 2019, I had an internship with Cone Health. During my time there, I was the intern for their staff education department, and basically what I did there was collaborate with their project manager on the recent move that they had in February. I believe they opened the women's hospital, and what I basically did there was I helped discover some of the educational needs that their staff would need in order to make sure such a large move would run smoothly. So I was in charge of a dashboard. I went to some meetings with a lot of different people. I had to learn a lot of medical lingo that I don't remember now. I'm a business student, so it was definitely a different experience, but I had so much fun. I got to tour the hospital right before it opened, so it was just amazing. But I was in general in charge of their educational needs and transferring that to the staff education department. And I collaborated with my director and my supervisor at the time to kind of get that going. So that's kind of what I did during the summer besides the Campus Greensboro Fellowship.
All right. And James has actually been a fellow twice. So James was a fellow in 2018 and in 2019. So do you mind telling us a little bit about both of your internships?
Yeah. Like Lizzie said, my name is James Donnell, currently a 1L at Elon Law. 2018, I was able to intern in the City for Greensboro City Manager's Office, and also in 2019, City Greensboro City Planning Department. Both were great opportunities. My first internships, first professional internships, so that was a great experience. There, I was able to do social justice research and programming, attend several meetings, do land use development. When I was in the city planning office, I was able to type memos, to my supervisor, which would go to the mayor. So I was able to do a lot of stuff, tour the city, see the different operations, especially when I was in the city manager's office.
All right, very good. So I would love for y'all to talk a little bit about how the Fellows Program had an impact on you. What I find really unique about the Fellows Program is we have about 100 students each summer, and all of these students come from really different backgrounds. So they're in a variety of different industries, working with all different types of organizations, from global corporations to nonprofits to startups to kind of everything in between. And so when I get to talk to students one-on-one who've been fellows in the program, it's always fascinating to hear their perspective and what was most impactful. So I'd love to discuss that.
James, you can go ahead if you want.
All right. I think as a first generation college student, Campus Greensboro helped me establish my brand by getting quality internships, helped me gain valuable experience within my community, because I'm actually from Greensboro. So that was very valuable experience where I got to network with city officials, our leaders, and I was able to network in other ways as well. But I'll say probably that's the main thing that I got from Campus Greensboro was networking, learning how to network, getting the opportunity to network with community leaders, business leaders, anybody you could think of. It was a great opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. Like James said, Campus Greensboro does a great job at Campus Greensboro does a great job of equipping their fellows with a lot of networking opportunities, a lot of workshops for personal and interpersonal development. And for me, the biggest impact the program had was definitely my confidence level and my personal growth. There was a lot of situations where I was very uncomfortable. It was definitely a new space for me, but I think taking those risks and making those connections within the city of Greensboro is really important, especially for, as James said, first generation college students, which I am now a graduate, so first generation graduates. And just to figure out what you want to do, Campus Greensboro has so many internships, so many opportunities, so many people that you can meet that went to UNCG and I didn't even know. And after the program, we saw each other and it was so awesome to have a different community within UNCG. So Campus Greensboro does a really good job at expanding your network and just making you feel at home. Yeah.
I'm glad y'all brought up the first generation college student piece of this, because something that we strive to do through Campus Greensboro is create an equitable platform for all students. We know that kind of traditionally, sometimes internships can really be about family or friend connections, about your college's relationships, and whether, if you go to a smaller university, your university may not have the same kind of relationships with employers, or if you're a first generation college student, you might not have the same type of connections. And so one of our goals is to provide that equitable platform. And it's been really exciting to see, like I said, students have all opportunities. I know that this past year, for example, over a third of our fellows were first generation college students. So we get really excited about helping connect those dots and having all students have the same opportunities. One of the capstones of the Fellows Program is the Center for Creative Leadership. So all fellows get to go through a 2-day training with CCL. If you don't know anything about CCL, they are a world-renowned leadership institute that happens to have a headquarters here in Greensboro. We're so fortunate to have such a great partnership with them. They provide awesome training for our students that is very much the same as what executives would get to go through their institute. And so I'd love to hear from y'all a little bit about your experience with the CCL training and maybe what you found meaningful.
I guess I'll go ahead. For me, something that I learned and was really important for me at the time in my internship, there was an activity where we were able to write notes to each other, to everyone in your groups, and say, like, give me advice for my internship. I don't know what to do about this one situation. I would love advice for this, or just general advice. And for mine, I had felt in my internship at one point that I was so focused in on one part of the project that I wanted to see a larger portion of it. And that's how I ended up touring the place. And a lot of people were saying to just speak up and talk to your director and tell them how you feel. And I ended up doing that. And that completely changed the internship for me. In the beginning, I was very scared to speak during meetings because it is very intimidating. As someone, this was my first internship ever. And with Cone Health, I loved the organization, the culture, but I was still very shy at the time. So being able to express my concerns and say, I want to get this out of the internship, I want to learn more about this, really changed the whole experience for me. So I think during the training, that was a moment that really stuck out to me. We also had a lot of cool activities that we did together that were really fun. We were blindfolded at one point and had to work as a team. So that was really nice. But that specific moment where we were able to be vulnerable and just ask for advice and everyone being so supportive was really awesome for me during that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Being vulnerable, that was a big part of it. But I definitely learned some things just to hone my leadership skills in my personal relationships and my professional relationships. It was another opportunity to network and get to meet the fellows and my peers more. One of the biggest takeaways that I had was learning how to give critical feedback. So ways people can accept it and just acknowledging people's differences and the way you phrase things. So that's something, a transferable skill that I was able to take to my internship when my supervisor asked me to look at something and then critique it. So in that way, I was able to take the things I learned from school and the things I learned from the Center for Leadership and apply it into the format in that memo. And I think it was pretty effective. And then second, I think being able to use that skill in my personal relationships, when I'm talking to my friends, my girlfriend, colleagues, things like that, that was really helpful.
Absolutely. So James, you've brought up networking a few times, and I know that that is a huge piece of the program. Sometimes I think whether you're a college student or a young professional or even a seasoned professional, networking feels a little abstract and you sometimes don't realize how important it is until you actually see something come from it. Could you all tell us maybe a story or something that's happened with you and your network of how you've seen networking be beneficial to your own personal or professional career?
Yeah, I've had a great networking experience coming from the mentorship program. Campus Greensboro is very strategic in the way they partner the fellows with community leaders. So my first time, I was paired with Ashton Clemens, who ended up running for North Carolina House of Representatives. And as a poli-sci major and as somebody going to law school, we just had a lot of interest in common. From that, we were able to spend some time together outside of the program at some networking events where I was able to meet the North Carolina Attorney General. I was able to meet judges. I was able to meet city leaders. Another event when she was inducted, I was able to meet judges at that event and network with them. I ran into her downtown, and she was just asking me, how am I doing? Do I need an internship, or how my internship's coming? She'd be in Raleigh. So she was definitely very invested, and I appreciate that. And that was a great networking experience, because without that, I wouldn't have known her. I wouldn't have that interaction or would have been able to go to those events. So now from this program, I know somebody in our North Carolina legislator, that I can talk to and communicate with. That my second time in the program, I was paired with John Sims. And although we were different occupation-wise, he was actually the CFO for Piedmont Trust Company. And his wife, Carol Sims, was a partner at a major firm in Greensboro, Fox Rothschild. So that was a great opportunity because we was able to meet with them, and I was able to network with them. That was just a great experience. They talked about Carol's son going to law school, and without that, I wouldn't have had those connections. I wouldn't have been able to know those people, and it's been extremely helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Likewise. My mentor was Luck Davidson. She's amazing. She's always super eager to take me. And there's another mentee that she had as well during the same time. So she took us to a Democratic party, and I got to meet Governor Cooper, which was really awesome. I love him. I've loved him ever since he was our governor. So getting to meet him and just talking to him for a little bit, he was very busy. There was a lot of people there, but that experience was just amazing. And recently me and Luck have been trying to reconnect, but then all the stuff going on right now kind of slowed that down. But Luck is always eager to bring me somewhere and always asking what I need from her. And I think that's really important because as a female, I think having a mentor who is in business, loves small businesses and things like that is really important for me. And also just in general, my relationship with her has taught me how important networking can be. Right now I'm looking for jobs, actively seeking. And during my conversations, I actually had an interview this morning. And during this conversation, I met someone who, even if I don't decide to go that route with my job search, they still offered to connect and be a support system for me. So I think that's really important to understand that no matter which way you go in life, the people you meet can serve so many purposes, and that relationship is just something you can't replace, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So yes, Campus Greensboro has definitely taught me the importance of networking and getting out of my comfort zone and just talking to people. It's not scary. It's actually amazing. So yeah.
That's awesome. You guys have kind of touched on this a little bit, but thinking back when you were a freshman in college, and then thinking again as seniors are graduating, what advice would you give to students at those points in their career to be most effective through their college career so they can find the right next step for them?
Yeah, definitely participating in a program like this. I say take advantage of internships as soon as possible. Whether that's your sophomore year, junior year, whenever you can, get some experience on your resume. Start building your brand and establishing those connections within the community. Like I said, your resume, have a good resume at all times, up to date, a PDF format so you can always have access to it if you need to send it off real quick. Business cards, things of that nature, just starting to think about yourself more as a professional. So it's easy for people to maybe accept you and talk to you more and take you serious. Attend professional development, trainings or conferences in your major or whatever, so you can get more familiar with it. I think things of that nature, learning how to write an effective cover letter. I think that's something people don't really talk about, but making it personal, I think that can have a big impact.
Yeah, definitely along those things, I would say take risks and say yes more. During my first couple of years at UNCG, I switched my major twice. I was poli-sci, then I was psych, and now I'm business. So definitely getting out of that headspace that I have to be a certain major to be a certain thing and just saying yes more. There's events that I wish I would have gone to as an undergrad collegiate woman, but now it's just an experience and a lesson of saying yes, take risks. Even if you don't like something, at least you did it and you can look back and say, all right, that wasn't for me. I learned this and that, but take risks, say yes. The worst that can happen is you don't really enjoy it, but at least you did it and you have the information, you have that experience, like James says, to put on your resume and talk about. And recruiters are always looking for leadership opportunities and things of that nature. So just say yes, take risks. It's fun. I'll get them done in the end. So.
All right. So as y'all know, one of the major pieces of Campus Greensboro and what we're trying to do is to help students fall in love with our city. And so, we take you guys to fun places, whether it's the Greensboro Science Center or Lake Brandt or Gillespie Golf Course. We try to get you to see the city a little bit differently than just your college town or just your hometown. So I would love to hear from you all. Why do you think that Greensboro is a great place for young professionals?
I think Greensboro is an amazing place to be. Definitely if you want to be super involved. I think the more I learned about Greensboro, the more I realized that although we are kind of a medium-sized city, we're not super huge, but we're not very small either. It's really easy to get involved and make those connections. James talked about how he was in the city manager's office in the planning. That's super easy to get involved in and make those connections. And I know there's meetings that you can go to. It's just the more people in Greensboro, it's very grassroots movement. You can definitely move your way up and be in government, being small business operations if you want to. Whatever you want to do in Greensboro, it's a really great place and it's really fun. There's a lot of things that I didn't know there was to do in Greensboro because I was in the four walls of my university. I didn't leave much. But after Campus Greensboro, I would not stop talking about certain places like Revolution Mills. I had no idea that place was there. I'm looking into moving over there because I just loved it so much. But there's so many places in Greensboro to be, and just giving it a chance is not for everyone, but it's definitely a great place to be as someone who's starting out. So.
Yeah, as a native from Greensboro, I kind of got a different perspective being a part of the program, and especially for 2 years. Lizzie mentioned it, it's over 50,000 college students in Greensboro, and that's a lot. So it's a lot of people to network with. It's a lot of young professionals, a diverse population of students, and also it's a lot of businesses that you didn't know were in Greensboro. And you know what I'm saying, I kind of take pride in that and knowing there's so many major businesses here, such as BF or the ACC. I know it's headquartered here, Wrangler, I think Biscuitville, the Honda Aircraft Company, a lot of major businesses in which honestly just presents opportunities for jobs post-grad. And I think a lot of people don't think about that, but it's a lot of good jobs here as well. And a program like this provides paid internships for you to, you know what I'm saying, starts to work on those connections. So I think that's an awesome opportunity and a reason to stay.
I'm so glad both of y'all brought up, so Crystal bringing up that you got exposed to places you've never been, like Revolution Mill. It's funny how we can kind of get sucked into our own bubble, our own little quadrant of the city, and it's hard to sometimes get out and explore. And then James talking about industry diversity. Greensboro does. We have so many headquarters and hubs and small business and kind of whatever you're looking for. I feel like there's a niche for you. And that's something that I think is a little bit of a kept secret here, and it doesn't need to be. So I'm glad you mentioned that as well.
Yeah.
Kind of my final question to you all before we just kind of open it up is, so right now with COVID-19 and everything going on, of course, our community is in very uncertain times. And it's really difficult, especially for students and recent grads, as they face job prospects or other, obstacles throughout this. And so I would love to hear from you all. What do you think that our community and our city could do to help these college students graduating and help recent grads and young professionals through this time?
I think during this time, I think compassion would go a really long way. I know everyone kind of feels bad for us because all of our plans were ruined, graduation never happened, but just being compassionate and showing empathy instead of sympathy would really go a long way. I know a lot of organizations aren't currently hiring, but the ones that are, definitely putting that out there and being straightforward about that. I found a lot of opportunities thus far and have had interviews, but I know a lot of my friends are struggling and they just don't know if people understand where we're coming from, because we don't want to be dramatic about it, but it is a huge accomplishment to graduate and now to be entering into the workforce. So just being compassionate and letting recent grads know that you're there for them and you have resources. UNCG has been doing a great job at that, providing career services for us, even though we already graduated and we're technically alumni. They're doing an amazing job. So just being compassionate and showing empathy.
Yeah, I'd say remaining open to hiring interns, to young professionals, because obviously people are thinking about scaling back. Just being open to still hiring, even if it's also just being flexible. If it's a remote opportunity, that's still valuable experience to young professionals that they might not have got otherwise. So I know a lot of people have been canceling, but luckily my internship, it will be partly remote. So just having everybody stay flexible, that's a great opportunity.
Absolutely. Do you all have any final words or stories or anything you'd like to share?
Not really. I would just say, again, be very open to all the different opportunities. I tell all my friends, all my sorority sisters, I rave about Campus Greensboro because they saw me when I would get home. We all lived together after the events that we had on Tuesday evenings. And I just raved about it and talked about how amazing it is, especially if you're not sure what you want to do, which is me. I'm very flexible and open-minded. I definitely in the future, as James is right now, I would love to go to law school, but a lot of things came up this year that just prevented me from doing that. But if you just don't know what you want to do and you love Greensboro, want to get to know Greensboro, definitely check out Campus Greensboro. It has so many opportunities like we talked about today, leadership, fun times. When we went to Lake Brant, that was my favorite memory. I always talk about it every time Lizzie asks me to speak about an event, but just give it a try and definitely be open and flexible, like James was talking about earlier, to any opportunity that comes your way.
Well, thank you all for tuning in to our podcast today. And special thanks to James and Crystal for joining us and sharing their experiences. If you are a student or if you have students in your lives that you think would want to be interested in the Fellows Program in Campus Greensboro, or you're just looking for more information on Campus Greensboro, feel free to visit our website. It's campusgreensboro.org. We're also fairly active on Instagram, so check us out there. It's at Campus Greensboro.
This podcast is brought to you by Truliant Federal Credit Union, a modern, mission-driven financial institution focused on the needs of its members, the businesses it serves, and our community. With 5 locations in Guilford County, including a dedicated commercial lending office at Friendly Center and a highly rated mobile banking app, Truliant makes it their business to help you grow yours. Visit truliant.org for more information. You can find all of our episodes on YouTube thanks to our video sponsor, North State. Impact the Borough is recorded at Press Play Studios. Producers are Brody Cohen-Glaze and Holly West. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at GSO Chamber. See you next time.